Good evening, ASCA members. Welcome to the October Board of Directors meeting. Tonight, all directors are in attendance. Denise, Cindy, Judy, Jean, Ken, Linda, Rachel, Rick, and myself, Liz. For those listening for the first time, the way that we do this is that when we have an item we're discussing, we go around and hear what each director has to say about that item. And because I like to do things differently, we will go in reverse our alphabetical order tonight. So our first item on the agenda is the ratification of September's email business.
Liz, it's Cindy.
Okay, go ahead, Cindy.
I'll make a motion to approve the September email business.
It's Rachel. I'll second.
All right. There's a motion on the floor by Cindy to ratify the September's email business, seconded by Rachel. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carries. Okay, moving right along. Okay, the next item is the European Advisory Committee. Last time, if I remember correctly, we sent a letter to the affiliates in Europe to see if they found this committee beneficial, whether they wanted to continue it or not. We had a couple of responses, so I'll just go around and get everybody's opinion on what we should be doing then of this committee. Rick?
I really don't have a comment at this time.
Okay. Rachel?
I am just now reading that.
Okay.
I read where the one person says that they should members only. You know, it's difficult to say to our European members, okay, we're dispersing your committee. But however, they were given an opportunity to respond by today, actually, correct?
That's my understanding, yes.
And so we got responses only from 3 committee members. Is that correct, Kala?
Yes.
One affiliate.
Yeah, affiliates, yeah.
So who exactly is the liaison now to the European Committee?
You guys didn't appoint one. You asked me to just handle the communication until you figured out what you wanted to do with the committee at this meeting.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and see, because I wasn't at Nationals, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah, since Laura was the liaison and she's no longer with us, then if we decide to do anything with the committee, we will have to probably appoint somebody else, will be my guess.
Right. And in reading through this, so we had 3 people out of the entire group. That's rather disappointing. However, I'm not ready to make a decision on this tonight.
Okay. Linda?
Well, if only 3 people replied, it seems to me that they don't particularly want a committee. So as far as I'm concerned, you can disband it, or you can ask for more resumes to start another one, or whatever else you want to do to keep them involved.
Ken?
I am stumped for an answer. I know we've tried very hard to get this committee to work for our European members. We wanted it for our European members. And we've only heard from 3 people. I hate to take it away, but if you keep begging people and they still don't take any action, to do things for themselves, I don't know what to do. I have no suggestions. Hopefully somebody has a bright idea.
Okay, thanks, Ken. Judy?
Well, being the newest person here, I don't really have the background of what's happening here, but from what several of even the letters said and what past letters have said, they talk about not knowing who's in charge, who's on the group. Do they have a group's IO that they can use? Is that available in Europe?
Yeah,
I believe that they are using a group's IO.
yes,
Okay.
they are using groups.
It doesn't sound like any of them know what's going on or who's, is there a chair? Is there anything? I don't.
Wasn't Luke the chair?
I don't know.
Liz, can I help? Can I help with
Yes,
this?
Ken, please.
With them. Judy, we instituted the committee and we set them up with Luke Gossens as the chair, and our original, who was our original liaison?
I believe it was Ann.
I think it was Ann, but then
Peter Hellmeister. Was it Peter Hellmeister?
No, it was not Peter. It was Ann.
It was Ann.
All right. Well, anyway, this committee has had every support that every other committee has had. They've got Groups IO. They've been through 4 liaisons now. We're just not getting answers back. We're sending emails, not getting answers. We ask questions. We don't hear anything back. This is only this. We originally asked the affiliates if they wanted this. They said yes. We asked them to nominate people from their club. They did that. We assigned people. We gave them all the tools that we have. I think that message is from a committee member, and the reason why she doesn't know anything is because her committee has never done anything. So they never sent out a list of who they were. ASCA has a list, and it was sent to all of them. It's kind of baffling why we are at this point and what more we can do to try and help them, help us take care of their needs. So we've done all the necessary things to offer them support, and you're just not getting any help.
Does that answer your question, Judy?
It does in a way. My question, I don't see this as any different than any other committee that is just not particularly active, like History Committee or, anything else. Why not just leave it there so it's available to them? Should they have not a problem necessarily, but should they have an item they want to discuss, then they still have access to all of those things. If they don't have anything to discuss, then they don't have to.
Hi, this is Kelly.
Okay.
Do you have any?
Wait.
They do actually. They actually have 2 things that they have been supposed to be doing since they started. Which the first thing was to elect a chair, which they never did, and the second was to respond to the membership survey that was sent out about splitting up Region 7, and they hadn't responded to that either. So there are a few things that they have on their plate, just so you know.
Thank you.
You had something to add, Ken?
No, I was just
Okay.
asking Judy if you had any ideas on how we could get them to answer communications from ASCA. How can we get them to respond to us?
The old adage about leading a horse to water, but you can't make them drink comes to mind here, because, Judy, we've tried in numerous ways to try to engage our European members to get them acting as a group to support the issues that are going on in Europe. For example, you know, the new law that went into effect this year, and we've just gotten nothing. And this has been going on, what, for a year and a half, 2 years now? We're talking a long time.
Okay, probably we should keep going around because there are 3 people who haven't spoken yet. Jean?
I think Luke, in his letter, sort of identified one of the problems in that, just as in the United States, the people are from different areas, and the individual people from the clubs perhaps have different programs that interest them. I realize that electing a chair should cross all boundaries, but I also I have felt for a long time that if they're not able or willing to do what we are asking them to do, and if they don't see the need for this, if the people that live there that participate in these programs don't see the need for this committee, then perhaps we'd be better off just disbanding it, in my opinion. I also just, you know, I also think that what happens in Finland isn't necessarily important to somebody in Germany, and you know, and it might not be as important to somebody in Italy. So even though we say Europeans, they have different concerns and different laws and different things going on in their country. So, and that may be one of the issues also. It's hard for me to know. And that's all I have to say.
Thanks, Jean. Denise?
You know, I have to agree with Jean and Rachel on this. When she was talking about leading the horse to water, you know, my favorite saying is you can't push the rope. And I felt that we have reached out numerous times, and different people tried different things. And, you know, if they don't, it may not even be that they don't want it, but they're not geared into that type of communication. And so I would say that there are plenty of things that everybody else has on their plate. And I think that it's probably time to step back and just let them know that we're disbanding this committee. However, we still are, you know, want to remain in contact with their affiliates and go at it that direction. I don't know. I mean, same thing. I hate to lose communication, but we have none, even though we're trying. So there are affiliate clubs over there with an affiliate rep that can contact the board at any time, and maybe that's how it needs to be communicated.
Thanks, Denise. Cindy?
I think if we do disband it, that instead of just disbanding it, we can follow it up with a letter to each of the foreign affiliates that the way to communicate with the board is through the asca executive secretary, and that because we're based in America, we might not be aware of some of the issues coming to light in their country, and that that is the way to let us know what's going on. I know when we first talked about this committee, we talked about things like mostly was the legislation problems, things that you know, the tail docking was one, but most recently was the wasn't copyright, but it was
the new privacy laws.
Yes, the privacy laws. Thank you, Rachel. So there's things that do come up in their affiliates that we aren't aware of until later. just saying, not just saying we're going to disband, but because we formed this in the first place because of some of these reasons, we want you to know that you can still notify us of your concerns through the executive secretary. So it's not just dropped. It's sort of said like, please let us know when these things are happening, and sooner rather than later.
I think that's great, Cindy.
Okay, so I tend to agree with Cindy on this. I think that we could disband this committee and then inform them of the ways that are, available to them to communicate. And when we have issues, say like, we still have the question about the regions, maybe the best thing to do would be to go through the affiliates, and maybe the reps will be able to get more answers about what the Europeans want on these issues. But I think that 3 years trying to get this done is plenty. That's my feeling. So I don't know what you guys, how you want to go ahead with this, whether you want to do something tonight or leave it for the next voting cycle. So what do you guys want to do?
Liz, this is Denise. Can we make
Yes,
a
ma'am.
motion at this point? Can we make a motion at this point?
You could make a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we do disband with the committee, and that we write a letter to every affiliate over there, inviting them to stay in touch with ASCA with all of their European concerns through the executive secretary.
Okay, any seconds?
Rick will second.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Denise to disband the European Advisory Committee and communicate with the affiliates to extend our invitation for them to communicate with ASCA. The motion is seconded by Rick. Any further discussion?
Be
All in
sure to
favor?
put on there
I'm sorry. Yeah.
through. Be sure to put on there through the executive secretary, so that they know exactly where to contact.
Okay, I guess the best thing will be for Carla to read the motion back to us.
I make a motion that the board disband the European Advisory Committee and write a letter to all of European affiliate clubs, inviting them to stay in touch with ASCA regarding their European concerns through the executive secretary.
That sound good, Denise?
That's perfect. Thanks, Calla.
All right. So any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I do.
Aye, who? Judy? Okay, so Judy abstains. Motion carries. All right. Our next item has to do with the DNA committee search for other parentage testing vendors. I guess what we're looking for here will be an update, because I'm sure they're not done. So, Jean?
Yeah, they're not quite done, although they have gotten some responses back. I'm sure you've seen that. So, just I guess allow them to continue. They got right on it. So I don't know.
This is
Does
Linda.
anybody? Okay. Oh, go ahead, Lee.
Are we going to get into the genetic testing business? Just the parent verification program?
Well, my personal view was that this was about parentage, not other things.
Well, I think that ought to be made clear to the committee that the only thing we're looking for is parent verification, period. If the rest of it comes with it, that's fine. But some, it looks like some labs include that with their genetic testings, and it's like $135 a pop, and that's not for us.
Right. Well, I think the committee understands that, but I can certainly reiterate that.
Please.
Does anybody on the board have a different understanding of what the committee needed to be doing regarding this?
No, I think that when we approved the questions that they submitted to us, and they're doing that, I think they're just talking among themselves, but whatever decision we make, they're gathering information for us. So far,
Right.
these are all questions we need to discuss at a much later date after we have all the information in front of us.
Yeah,
I believe that most vendors are getting their offerings to determine if at some point in time asca may want to take advantage of that. But I think it's pretty clear that what we're looking for right now is parentage verification, because we would price ourselves out of business if we said, okay, here's all these other tests. So I think that may be options, and I actually think if we go to a lab that offers those other options for our members, that's a good thing in case they decide they want to take advantage of that.
Yeah. So, I guess, is there a consensus then that we should just let them continue, because they are getting it done? I mean, they're getting the communication from the company, so I think they're working on it.
I think they're doing an outstanding job myself.
Yeah.
I think we should let them continue.
Okay. Do I need to go around, or are we in consensus here?
I'm fine with it, Liz.
I'm sorry?
I'm good.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, so we're just going to let the committee continue doing what they're doing. I think they're doing a great job, and we look forward to the report. All right, so the next item will be also Gene, and it has to do with the 2023 Nationals and the Deschutes site.
Liz, I hate to interrupt, but I think we missed number 2.
I'm sorry, what?
We missed number 2, the system liaison report.
Oh, shoot. I sure did.
Hey, I was just going to be quiet.
Okay, go Rachel. Systems liaison report.
Well, I don't have a lot to report, guys, because the layoff before Nationals and after Nationals, as a matter of fact, I just sent a note tonight to my committee saying we've got to get back on task. We've got to get this done now. We've had the 2 quotes that came in from the vendors, and actually all of us have been kind of slack in our duties because people have just been busy. So we're going to get back on that. But in the meanwhile, you know, Ray did mention to us that he did need to buy 2 new computers for the office because the ones that there are quite ancient. And so he came back with the quotes that he had from Best Buy's, McLean, and Brazos Valley. And he decided that probably McLean's would be a better option for him because they will come and install them. And these computers are needed for the office staff to be able to do their jobs. And you guys know how as computers get older, they get slower and slower and slower. So we need to help our business office out there. And so to that point, does anyone have any questions about this purchase that we are considering?
All right.
Rachel, how many computers will this be?
Wait a minute. Say again. I didn't hear you.
How many computers will this be?
We're looking for 2 computers right now. That's my understanding.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that what he does is that he has staggered, you know, the way that he buys the computers. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for now, it will be 2.
Right. Yeah, because you wouldn't want to have to replace every computer in the business office at the same time. That would be chaos. So, yeah. So we're looking to buy 2. And the price on those are about $780. And so my motion is going to be for $1,600 for the 2 computers and/or some extraneous cables and/or other, accoutrements that he may need along with this new purchase. So I can tell you that. Any more questions, guys?
Yeah. Doesn't look like it, Rachel.
All right, then. I motion to approve the purchase of 2 new computers for the ASCA business office, and these computers will be from McLean, and the total purchase amount for the 2 computers is going to be $1,600. I need a second, someone.
I'll second.
Who seconded? Oh, okay, sorry.
Jean.
Okay, who seconded?
Jean.
Jean. Okay. So we have a motion on the floor by Rachel and seconded by Jean to allow the business office to purchase 2 computers. Could you read that back to us, Kayla?
I make a motion to approve the purchase of 2 new computers from McLean for a total of $1,600.
Specifically for the ASCA business office.
Hey, this is Rick. Should the motion say not to exceed $1,600?
Well, I don't think it's going to exceed it simply because I'm already putting a little bit of padding in there, Rick. You can term it that way. That's fine. I'm good with that. But Ray's pretty cost conscious, and and so the fact that he's not buying the most expensive computers, that are out there, because he works with McLean. They come into the business office, so it's a good solution to buy from a known vendor who has helped us out.
No, I agree. It was just a suggestion.
Yeah, that's fine. Callie, you can change the motion to say not to exceed. That actually sounds better. I'm good with that.
Okay, so can you read it back to us, Kayla?
Yep, it says, I make a motion to approve the business office to purchase 2 new computers from McLean, not to exceed $1,600.
There you go. Good deal. Good suggestion, Rick. Thanks.
All right. So any further discussion on this motion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. All right. All right, so now we can go back to Jean and go to the 2023 Nationals under the shoot side.
Liz, this is Jean. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. I totally forgot. She was supposed to call me back. I called her again right before we left the fairgrounds. And even though it's number 1 on my list of things to do after I left Nationals, I forgot. So I will call her first thing in the morning and see if we can get an answer, because the lady that I spoke to at the shoot, seemed to think that there were other dates available, but she needed to check with somebody who rents the facility yearly, but they go back and forth between September and October. So I will call her first thing tomorrow and give you guys an update, even if I only have to leave a message.
All right. I just hope that we can get that. If she doesn't answer or something, we're going to have to move on this, I think.
Yeah, I was going to.
Yeah.
We'll have to make sort of decision.
Yeah. So, okay. So I guess we'll look forward to the update when you can communicate with her.
Well, even if I just leave a message tomorrow, I'll let you guys know. So
Okay.
that, you know that I'm following up.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments or questions for Jean? Okay. So I'm sorry. The next item is the National Specialty Executive Committee. For those members who may not be aware, this committee was formed with the goal of discussing and exploring possible changes to the way that nationals are organized and planned and budgeted and all that. So any updates on the committee?
Yes, this is Ken.
Okay. Go ahead, Ken.
I spoke with Laura today because I had asked her when she was going to be able to get together with us on this. So we talked about a couple of things. She would like to know if anybody has any ideas on what they would like to see. She doesn't seem to think she got much feedback on her written proposal, and so she wants to know if anybody has any ideas on how they would like to proceed with this idea. So I said I would pass that along.
Ken, is there any timeline that we want to have those answers or those questions or those suggestions for? I'm sorry.
Well, the only thing I can see a timeline on is in the rules we have a site location rule where we were going to go through the different sites for 2 cycles, but
right.
what's in the rules seem to follow the motion that we made, so I'm not quite sure what we're doing, but I think it all hinges on the Oregon site. I think I'm really leaning towards trying to get out of that commitment. I don't think there's much support, and I think there's, with the lack of support, there's also an abundance of criticism that goes along with that. So if we're stalling any more of that typical stuff, I was thinking perhaps we could just go through the rotation of Colorado, then California, then Georgia, then Texas, and back to Colorado again. So I would imagine that either after Texas or Colorado, we do our assessment on how that process went and move on whatever our next idea would be. So I think we need to know if Oregon if the Redmond Fairgrounds can accommodate us, and we'll have to go from there. So hopefully we'll get some answers tomorrow.
Okay.
But anyway,
right.
for the other, as far as the nationals committee to organize nationals and finals, I think Laura would be more comfortable if she had a basic idea of where people stood on how they would like to see that come together. And then we're just going to have to all work together with Laura to try and figure out a time when we can all get on the phone together at the same time and discuss this. That's the only complication I see.
Okay. So if there are any suggestions from directors, they probably should send them to you as soon as possible, because otherwise you're just gonna, be waiting for nothing.
This is Rachel. So do we need to send that over to Laura then?
Yeah, I would send whatever your suggestions are to Laura, and we'll all see them when we get to talking.
Okay, now this document she presented, did she present that to National?
She talked about it some, yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I had a
All right,
question.
Yes.
This is Denise. Ken suggested we go through a complete cycle, and I think that's a good idea. Up from, we just did Colorado, and we go to Georgia, and we go to Texas, but I don't think we should go back to Colorado until we go to the West Coast again, whether it's Deschutes or somewhere else, because the West Coast is a majority holder and population that needs to be serviced. So I think that this decision of where on the West Coast it needs to be would be necessary to find that out, maybe even after Georgia, or whenever we find out. If Gene finds out things are a go, then, you know, that's great. But if not, then I think we should look for a secondary location and go from there.
Thank you, Denise. Yeah, I think that, you know, we have two related but kind of separate issues here. We need to first find out about the site in Oregon so that we can know whether we have to actually find another site for 2023. And then we have also the issue of, you know, Laura's proposal and, you know, the work the committee is going to do to kind of explore these possibilities and then report back to us. So, yeah, I think that, yeah, let's have all directors that have any suggestions about the proposal itself to send them to Laura so that the committee can start working on some of that. And then let's wait to see what Gene finds out tomorrow.